Hi, I'm Renarta Clanton Moyd. I'm a communications specialist with the Cumberland County Schools and your host of Get Connected. During this monthly show, we highlight numerous educational topics that face today's student, educator, and parent in the Cumberland County Schools. Now, bullying in schools is an old problem that within latter years has become more violent, malicious, and widespread. Many communities and schools across the country have joined forces to stamp out bullying. And after this break, we'll discuss efforts by the Cumberland County school system and a local business partner to put a stop to these abusive behaviors during this edition of Get Connected.
In 4 out of 5 school shootings, the attacker tells someone about it first. Call 1-866-SPEAK-UP to anonymously report a weapon threat at school.
Get your face suit. You're not sitting here.
Yes, I am.
Move. Give it to him hard!
No.
Every day, kids witness bullying.
Why are you stabbing me with it? No.
They want to help,
Ow.
but don't know how.
Oh, you got...
Teach your kids how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov.
Again, thanks for joining us for this edition of Get Connected, where we're talking with Cumberland County School Counselor Coordinator Robbin MacGregor, Cumberland County School student Katherine Peterson, and Beasley Broadcast Group Market Manager Mac Edwards. Robbin, Katie, Mac, welcome.
Thank you for having us.
It's great to be here.
Good to be with you today.
All right. You all had that coordinated, didn't you?
We can't help it. We're just that good.
Hey. Well, you know what? We're here talking about a very serious issue as far as, bullying and anti-bullying is concerned. But let me ask you this. How seriously does the Cumberland County Schools take bullying?
We take it very seriously. When you look at national statistics, they will tell you that in the age group of 12 to 18-year-olds, generally 1/3 of those individuals have been bullied. We hope that that certainly is not the case in Cumberland County schools. But in order to make sure that that doesn't run rampant in our school system, we actually have put some things in place. To start off, we have put in the Code of Conduct the act that cyberbullying or bullying or verbal aggression will become a Class 2 violation. And that may result in suspension for the student. So we take it very seriously. We also have developed a Cumberland County Schools anti-bullying task force. And this is not just school personnel. It actually has Safe Schools coordinators and counselors and administrators, but we have folks from the community such as WKML and Cross Creek Mall, and we actually have had a pediatrician that has just come on board. So the task force kind of monitors what kinds of bullying we're seeing and the frequency of it, and we attempt to offer support to the school so that we can put this problem to rest.
Now, you know what, I know when I see different things going on in our society, it kind of makes me wonder, do people really take bullying seriously? Were you all ever bullied, growing up? You, Katie, as a student now, Mac, maybe when you were, a young... you're still a young fella. But,
Thank you for clarifying that.
I don't know, I wasn't ever bullied too badly. I mean, it's just in middle school especially, students are like, that age group, they're kind of vicious.
Yeah.
So I got those verbal jabs every once in a while, but it never really hit me too hard.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever been around a situation where you saw a student being bullied?
I have, actually. There's someone who's very dear to me who has been bullied very aggressively, and that's why I feel so strongly about bullying. So.
Okay.
And I think part of the problem is the fact that our culture embraces bullying to the extent that you look at the Jerry Springer show and the following that it has, and then Mean Girls. So we celebrate that, but then we expect our youth not to internalize it. Mm-hmm. And if they see that that's cool or that it's funny, then they're going to take on those behaviors, and they're very, very hurtful.
Exactly.
And you know, at that age, the peer pressure to actually just either go along or not say anything, I think is one of the bigger challenges there, because you know, one person is bullying and the others either go, well, okay, I'll either jump in to be with a cool crowd who's, you know, not standing up, or either walk away and not have any input. And I think that's one of the bigger obstacles in putting an end to bullying.
So true, and social media just encourages another layer of
yes.
complexity.
Another layer.
So many of the students think, okay, I can text and I can send out a vicious message and no one will even know that it's me that's sending it. And because of that anonymity, they really get to be very, very rude and hurtful.
I'm wondering, is there a difference, or do we see more bullying with girls than boys, or, you know, has there been any studies regarding that?
Well, it used to be that it was primarily, with males, it was more of a physical aggression.
Okay.
And with females, it was more verbal. But now we're finding that it's equalizing. It's just equally as vicious among the genders.
Oh, that's so bad. But you know what, something that you kind of mentioned earlier is one of the reasons for bullying, you said, as far as the prevalence of bullying, you know, just the fact that we see it on TV in different places in society. Can you all think of any other reasons why people, you know, why it's so prevalent in our society nowadays?
Unfortunately, I think TV has a lot to do with it. Some people say that we're a society where TV raises our children. And so if there's not a strong family component that is teaching the moral issues of right and wrong and appropriate behaviors, then they're going to take with them what they see on TV, and it is just not exactly the kind of moral upbringing that is good for our children.
And I think, unfortunately, social media has really played a large role in accelerating bullying. And even, you know, now one of the hot topics is, you know, this knockout game thing that you hear about. And there's,
Now, wait a minute, what's this? I'm not
it's basically gangs of people getting together, and on an unsuspecting person on the street, they come out, and the game is to see if you can knock out a person with one punch. And this is getting YouTube exposure, it's getting exposure elsewhere, and it's being celebrated instead of being condemned, and that's really a terrible comment on our society at the moment, that that gets, you know, a certain notoriety, while instead it should have, you know, major condemnation coming down.
Exactly. And you know what, Mac, let me just ask you this. I take it that Beasley Broadcast Group sees that this is a very important thing, and you all have decided to step in and help the school system with this. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Well, it started with, first of all, we had a new artist who had gotten our attention. Her name is Morgan Frazier, and she has a new song out called Hey Bully, one that she wrote because as a teenager she was bullied. And as we were looking at it, we were thinking in terms of what could we do really to step up and do our part because of all the other things going on in our community and in society, America as a whole, that were leading to seeing more emphasis on bullying, anti-bullying, and how we could really make a difference here locally. And you know, we started thinking about it and talking about it, and you know, as a number of us adults were around the table, we said, you know, this isn't really who we want to be speaking to. We want to talk to those students in the area high schools, thinking middle school and high school. So we convened kind of an impromptu focus group, if you will, and said, you know, how would you tackle this? What is our best approach here? And they came up with a Twitter campaign that we rolled out for the middle schools and high schools, with an opportunity to have Morgan Frazier come and do a concert at your school based on taking an anti-bullying pledge. You know, for us, it's step one, but for our company as a whole, we did this specifically on WKML, our country station. But moving forward, we want to continue to take major steps to get those middle school children and get the high school children to go, look, it's time to really step up and say, I'm not only not going to do it, but I'm going to report it when I see it, and I'm going to tell an adult who can help make a difference with this.
That's good. And I take it that, Katie, you took the pledge. Did you take the pledge?
I did, absolutely. It was very interesting because we got to do it during school, and I saw everybody take out their phones, and they just automatically they did it, and I was really proud to be part of that group.
Now let me ask you this, do you think that they took it seriously, or was this just the end thing to do so that you can get the concert at your school, or?
Well, honestly, I think we did it seriously because not many people have heard of Morgan Fraser, so we weren't really sure what we were getting. So I think a lot of people, I mean, at my high school, at Jack Britt High School, we really don't like bullying. I know a lot of people who just refuse to bully and refuse to see bullying, and they will report it. And I think that at Jack Britt, we just plain have a no tolerance policy.
That's good. It's almost in our society, if you've noticed, the type of thing when you see, even if you see another adult bully, an adult bully another adult, you almost get angry at that person, like as if they were a terrorist on a plane, and after 9/11, anytime you saw anyone on a plane doing anything they weren't supposed to do, everybody just pounced. And it's almost like we're starting to evolve into that stage with bullying. I know I find myself, if I'm watching something on TV where the person, like a reality show, where the person is really bullying this other individual, I've got to write that company and that station and say, look, this is not right, and you all shouldn't be, it's almost like you just react like, this is not right. You get angry.
It takes that personal commitment. And one of the reasons why we were so excited about the partnership with KML is we felt that we were doing a lot of lessons in the classes talking about thou shalt not bully,
right.
but we were talking to the kids instead of having the students own
Dialogue,
the anti-bullying.
yeah, exactly.
And this actually, I think, enabled them to see this young lady from Nashville who's only 20 years old is already recognized by the Grand Ole Opry, and she was bullied. So it lets you know it could happen to anyone if we allow it to. But if we stand up and take ownership, as you're talking about, then we can put it into this problem, and that's what it's going to take.
And it's interesting in her particular case, having finally got a measure of success in Nashville, it would have been very easy just to cover that up and say, it never happened to me and I led a perfect life and had no bumps in the road. And instead, she decided to make a difference and take a stand and say, this did occur to me. And that's what I would encourage our middle school and high school students to think about on a daily basis is, in your particular area of influence, you can make a difference. You can stand up and by taking the pledge like Katie did, that it goes beyond just, pulling out the phone and punching in I do pledge, but then it carries over to your actions every day, and it's great to hear how Jack Britt has embraced that as a whole facility and faculty and students there.
That's good. And the other school that won the concert?
Mac Williams Middle School. And that was phenomenal as well. The students actually, Cape Fear High School allowed them to use the gym so that we could get the whole school into the area because we didn't want anyone to miss out on the concert. So their pep band led them across the parking lot and into the gym. And when Morgan came out, she was a superstar. The kids had their posters up there, their anti-bullying posters. Some were weeping because they were just so enthralled to see someone of such celebrity. But they really listened to her as she explained her story about having been bullied as a youth. And she said that she had complexion issues and she was tormented to the point to where she had school avoidance and absolutely didn't want to go to school. So she wrote the song Hey Bully, and if you've not heard it, it is well worth hearing. It's actually on the KML Twitter platform.
Yes, it is.
And the words are just so profound. You can just hear the pain in her as she sings her song. And I think when kids began to hear that, they begin to think, this is not cool. This is not who we want to be.
Wow. I'm going to have to definitely check that song out.
Definitely.
I will. But you know what? We're going to take a quick break, okay? All right. All right, sit tight and don't go anywhere, okay? All right. And don't you go anywhere. Stay tuned for more Get Connected.
Hey, I'm Anderson Cooper. As a parent, you want to make sure that your child knows how to deal with bullying when they see it happening. And chances are they want to help, but they don't really know how. I'll teach them that the best thing to do is calmly walk away, find a teacher or other adult, and speak up. And do your part. Be that adult they can talk to and trust will listen. Join me to help stop bullying. Go to stopbullying.gov to find out more.
Did you find the flashlight and the batteries?
Yes.
Did you make sure we're not missing anything in the first aid kit?
Yup.
Did you go through the plan with the kids again?
Yes. The more you prepare today, the more you'll be able to reduce the devastating effects of a tornado, an earthquake, a power outage, or any other disaster. Get a kit, make a plan, be informed. Visit ready.gov.
Thanks for joining us for this edition of Get Connected. Our guests are Cumberland County School Counselor Coordinator Robbin MacGregor, Cumberland County School student Katherine Peterson, and Beasley Broadcast Group Market Manager Mac Edwards. Now we're discussing how our schools and community are partnering to put a stop to bullying. And with that, before we went to the break, we were talking about this awesome concert that Morgan Fraser came here to perform for our students. And you know what, Katie, I didn't get to ask you, what were your thoughts and the thoughts of your students during that concert?
Well, it was an amazing concert. I mean, she's incredibly talented, and everybody who was at the concert, they were just ecstatic. I couldn't believe the intensity that everybody was just like, woohoo, and so happy. And everybody they were just so excited.
That's
and
good.
We all were.
That's good. It sounds like this particular effort was very successful. Very successful anti-bullying.
And of course, Morgan, we owe a great deal to her because she's just so personable. She related to the students. She shared her own heartfelt story. And then she started taking requests. And she was like, what do y'all want to hear? She must know every country song known to man. She knew the words. She would take a minute. You could see her thinking about it. And then she would just, with her guitar, start playing. And
talent.
Oh, you wouldn't believe it. You just wouldn't believe it. And going from Jason Aldean to Carrie Underwood without any flaws whatsoever, that is talent.
Yeah, talent. That's great. Now, you know what? I know that was kind of part of the anti-bullying task force initiative. But talk to us a little bit about the objectives of this task force as well as the goals.
Okay, well, the objectives, I think I mentioned earlier, we're trying to kind of monitor the rate of bullying and the intensity and the kinds of bullying that are going on in Cumberland County. So we do look at the incidence reports. We also try to find out from students exactly what's going on. What do you need? What sense do you have in your school that maybe we are not meeting? And we've done things like creating customized lesson plans that are on, it's a live binder, which is kind of a virtual file box. And teachers that are having an issue in their classroom or counselors that need to have a lesson on bullying can actually go in and pull out a lesson plan and use that teachable moment to actually head off the bullying and to use it to let people know how painful it can be to be a victim. So we do the lesson plans. We've done posters that are in just about every classroom in Cumberland County. And the posters are instructional. They actually give you tips for not becoming the victim of a bully. And then we do also public service announcements, such that when the school has the morning announcements, they can go ahead and put a little piece in there about either how to be an effective bystander, i.e. report what you see, or if you are being bullied, who to tell, who to go to. So it's always a word of encouragement. But the thing that we were so excited about in terms of our partnership with KML is we were able to really involve students with the concerts, but we didn't want to just stop there. In fact, there were some high schools that are not the comprehensive type. They're kind of specialty high schools and they're smaller in number, and they said, there's no way that we're going to have the number of tweets that we're going to win the concert. So Dr. Teal graciously came up with two $1,000 scholarships, one for a high school and one for a middle school that had the highest number of pledges per enrollment. So we actually had winners with Pauline Jones Middle School and Ramsey Street High School. So they each got $1,000 that they can use toward anti-bullying or toward a school need. On the elementary level, we didn't want to encourage those students to tweet. So we came up with the idea of a poster contest. And that's where Cross Creek Mall comes in. They're providing Chick-fil-A coupons for the winners. We had a K2 winner and a 3-5 winner. And these students will actually have their work published in Kidsville Magazine, which is a way to get the community involved in what we're doing in Cumberland County schools.
That is so awesome. It's so good to see, as I said in the intro, the community, to see the importance, and our business partners out there to see the importance of this issue and step up and want to be a part. You know what, Mac, make an appeal to our people out there, other businesses, you know, to get out and get involved with this?
Well, I think it starts with that first step and finding a way that will actually engage the target audience, which is that age group from 10 to 18, I would say. And to find a way that you're actually talking with them and giving them a reason to care, a reason to be concerned. And it could be monetary involvement, it could be feet on the streets, it could be any number of things. But I would encourage fellow business owners and managers to say, how can we make a difference? Because we've all, in our own years in junior high, as we used to call it in high school, that we saw or were involved with either being bullies or having been bullied or standing on the sideline. And to say, okay, let's not let this continue. And certainly let's not let it snowball. Let's make our mark now and say this is the line, and we're prepared to make a difference. And for each business, it's a little different way of looking at it, but it's a matter of taking the time and going, all right, it's more about than just profit and loss. It's what do we do within our community to make a difference.
Make it a better place. Yeah, exactly. And I mean, with that, I'm sure that a business or a manager, someone out there or an individual who wants to be involved with it that can impact could possibly call you. I'm sure you're very smart, Robbin, can come up with a way to figure out how to use their resources.
We're always looking for fresh ideas. This is not a program that instantaneously puts an end to bullying. It's something that we're going to have to work on continuously. So we're always looking for new ideas and fresh approaches to put an end to the bullying situation. And when you think about it, on an individualized basis, as a counselor, I've seen students that have been bullied and they develop like school avoidance. They have depression. Their eating habits suffer. They can't sleep at night. That's not what we want for our students.
No, it's
we
not.
definitely want them to feel excited about coming to school, to know that it's absolutely a safe environment in which to learn.
And you know what, as you mentioned that, Robbin, I think, Katie, about the essay you wrote for Governor's School, where you talk, about that, or you wrote about that. Share with us.
Well, I applied for Governor's School earlier this fall, and my essay, we had to write about a social issue that we felt strongly about. So I wrote about bullying, and in my essay, I basically kind of explained the different types of bullying, because it's not just one type. We have cyberbullying, we have physical bullying, and then of course there's like mental bullying, which is like words. Yeah. And I touched on the topic that none of them are worse than the other. And I also explained ways we could work on those and try and get people help and try and get the numbers of people who are bullied those ways down.
I think you'll find many times that kids that are the victim of bullying don't want to share it. They're embarrassed, they're intimidated, and the reason that they often don't even tell their parents is they're afraid that their parents are going to take away the cell phone or restrict their time on the computer. And they still want to have those connections with their friends and their peers, but they're suffering.
But you know what, my question becomes, as a parent, and my child is not quite in middle school, but I'm sure she's starting to see some bullying types of things. How do you not take that step and say, well, I'm taking that, well, she doesn't have a cell phone, but how do you not restrict those things, but then at the same time try to understand and help them through that? I mean, as a parent, I want to be proactive and just go to the school and just, talk to the teacher, the principal, whomever I need to talk to.
And you should do that.
Absolutely.
You absolutely should talk to administration, talk to the counselor. Don't let it lie. But as a parent, I think the key is to be supportive, not punitive.
See, that's difficult.
So you want to keep the lines of communication open with your child. If you say, I've noticed that you're not sleeping well or you're not eating well, tell me what's going on, instead of, I saw some message on your cell phone, hand it over, Missy. That's just not going to help the problem at all. Keeping those lines of communication open, knowing your child's friends, and as much about their families as you can, that's going to help a great deal. And when you do see a change in affect with your child, then definitely you want to say, I am here for you. We can talk about this, we can go to the school and have an investigation done, but I just don't want to see you in pain.
And Robbin, I think you make a good point. My wife is a teacher in the school system, and I think we assume so often that the teachers are aware that there is an issue going on. And it might be in different classrooms where this bullying is taking place from, a student in one classroom versus another classroom. And oftentimes that line of communication becomes the way for the teachers to be in the know and to be able to address something that's going on and speak with each other and address it in the classroom and in a positive way too. For instance, she's a 5th grade teacher where, you start making that stand now and in effect calling the kids out to some degree to go, you're better than this. You can step up and you can be a better person and you can make a difference on your own instead of getting into these bullying tactics and situations at an early age.
Exactly.
And the beautiful part of that is kids are pretty resilient. When the light bulb goes on and they realize, hey, I'm not being the kind of person I want to be, they can make a change.
Oh, wow, that's some good information there. Now let me ask you this, Katie. When you see these types of things occurring in the halls or you hear about them, are you with a group of people or yourself even, do you get involved? Do you say, stop, it's not right?
Well, there are a lot of times where I won't say anything because sometimes I can see that they have control and they're not bothered by it. And that's something that's really important, that sometimes if you see it happening and you can tell that the person isn't bothered, you just kind of want to stay back because a lot of the time they'll just get mad at you and they'll be like, okay, I didn't need your help and stuff like that. But if I see somebody floundering, instantly I'm just like, okay, that's not going to work. And yes, sometimes I won't step up and talk to the bully themselves, but I'll talk to the victim. I'll be like, look, you don't have to deal with that. You're better than that and don't even worry about it. That person just doesn't know what they're talking about.
Oh, wow. I tell you, just listening, it just kind of takes me back to middle school. That was, but anyway, nonetheless, I'm looking at the clock on the wall and I see our time is ticking down. Any last words regarding bullying, anti-bullying?
Renarta, you mentioned what parents can do, and I would suggest to parents that if you've got a computer in your home, have it in a family area so that you can just, as you're walking by or doing chores, you can glimpse at the screen and see what's going on. Don't allow your child to secretively suffer. And again, know their circle of friends, and I think that will help.
Katie?
I agree. I know parents, they should definitely get involved. Don't just sit back and do nothing. Go to the school, because a lot of times there is a no tolerance policy in the schools and the administrators will help.
Okay. Matt?
I think it is to engage with the family, with the educators, and also simply stand up. If you are being bullied, stand up, whether it's to the bully, whether it's to let a counselor know, to let an adult know, to let a parent know. Stand up.
Oh, good advice, and we're going to end it on that. Stand up. Thank you all so very much. We appreciate it, okay? All right.
Thank you.
Well, on behalf of the Cumberland County School System, we want to thank you for tuning in to this edition of our show and for giving us a chance to help you get connected. Until next time.